right.
Here we go.
Welcome back to another episode of the Merge Feast. I'm back with episode 10 this season. My name's Blake, joined by Logan and Brandon. What's going on, guys?
What's up? What's up?
What up?
Well, another great episode in the books. And I don't know about you guys, but maybe one of my favorite episodes of the season so far. At least it's up there, maybe top three. And yeah, I know we've got a lot to talk about, but what do you guys think of this episode?
Yeah, all in all, I thought it was, like you said, a great episode. I think there was definitely some interesting moments in the episode, but overall, really good episode and really excited to dive into it.
I'm gonna remember this episode as the Applebee's episode, honestly.
True.
Let's jump into it though.
Absolutely. This kind of starts off this episode by seeing Liz just about to snap on everything. I mean, just like when they went, when they got back to camp after tribal council, it just, with Liz being voted out or not voted out, left out of the last vote. I mean, she was just like annoyed and was just losing it. And I thought, like, oh man, this is going to set the tone for the entire episode. And little did I know, that was the theme of this episode, is just the mental breakdown of Liz. But one part I liked and ended up being kind of a big moment was when, after everybody was back at camp after the last tribal and Q was off by himself, the only person that went to talk to him or check on him, see how he was doing, even just say hello, was Maria. And I thought that was really, really smart. And it definitely, helped them out this week. But I was curious what you guys thought of that. Did you think that was a good move, a bad move? Do you think it might have put a little bit of a target on her back, or what do you guys think of that?
I think it was a great move. I mean, anytime that somebody's on the bottom doesn't want, or there's nobody that wants to work with that person on the bottom, if you're able to kind of be there for that person or check in on them like she did, and like she said multiple times in the episode, Q is a number for her. Like that's a vote that if she can build that trust and that relationship there, that's a vote that he's going to help out with. So for numbers' sake, I think it was a great move.
Yeah, it's great for her numbers. It's great for her jury management, building up her resume to win the game. When Q inevitably gets voted out, I could see him most likely voting for Maria. And we can kind of look back at this moment when nobody wanted anything to do with Q. Maria stepped in and gave him the time of day. So it's a good move by her.
And I know we'll talk about this a little bit more because the whole Maria Q, like, they're going to be a big part of the conversation for the episode this week. But do you think that everybody else will start to see through Maria's game a little bit, as far as like the jury management, trying to pull Q in? Like, do you think they'll look at it that way, or do you think they're just not at her level and she's playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers?
I think it's clear to me that Maria and Charlie are a step above the rest, especially after like Tiffany being voted out last night. So to answer your question, yeah, she's 2 steps ahead of everybody. And I don't think anybody really has detected that Maria and Charlie are probably at this point the biggest threats left in the game.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think definitely a step ahead. I think her making moves could put a little bit of a target on her back. Just obviously, anytime somebody makes a move, and especially something like this move with Tiffany, uh, that gets recognized. And so I think that will put a little bit of a target on her back, but I think she's done a good enough of a job with her relationship with Charlie. And something I kind of noticed, I feel like in this episode later after the reward challenge, it was all Charlie pulled Maria aside. I was like, hey, like what happened? And she's like, hey, real quick. Nobody else seems to realize how close those two are, which is insane to me. But definitely a step ahead, playing great. And I think her relationship she's built, the trust she's built with certain people, even though she's going to have a target on her back, especially now and going forward because she is a great player, I think she's still going to be fine.
She's definitely peaking at the right time, and she's been playing a good game the entire time, but she's really turning it on and making the big moves, I think, at a really, really smart time in the game. The question for me is kind of really what happened this episode was it started out last week by Kenzie wanting to target Tiffany, and that ended up falling through for a number of reasons, but that was one of the things that the show highlighted again this week was that Kenzie might still want to go after Tiffany. And fairly quickly that changed, and she, kind of shied away from that a little bit, trying to go after some other people, Q being one of them. But the whole thought there of Kenzie going after Tiffany was that Tiffany was her number one and she saw her as a big threat. So what will be interesting to me over the next couple weeks, and we were teased it a little bit for the scenes from next episode, was whether or not Charlie and Maria will go after each other or if they will remain loyal. And I'm curious to hear if you guys like if you had to make a call right now, do you think they will go after each other or do you think they'll remain loyal to the end?
I really don't think that. I think they're going to remain loyal to the end. I from the very beginning, they've been the number one alliance, and obviously, I know you want to win and get the other person out, but I feel like they're going to stay together.
I think that I don't think they're going to go after each other next week, but I think they're clearly both there to win the game, and they're going to recognize, whether it's Maria or Charlie, that they're going to have a hard time winning if the other one is sitting at Final Tribal with them. So I do think that if we get to Final 6, Final 5, that they might go after each other.
Well, it kind of leads me to the second part of that question, which is if they end up sitting next to each other. I mean, Charlie has shown that he is really good at competitions. He's won 2 back-to-back immunity idols. Spoiler alert, we'll talk about that in a minute. But Maria's playing the way better social game from my perspective. Do you guys think, because every group of castaways is different in how they like what they value in the game, do you think that the rest of the jury so far and who's left in the game, if it's down to those 2 and maybe one more, with Charlie having lots of immunity wins, physical kind of that those highlights in the game, whereas she has the social side, where do you think the rest of the jury is going to put the bigger emphasis on?
Well, I don't think that Charlie doesn't have the social and strategy side. I think he's more low key about it than Maria is. But I also
I think she'll be able to speak to her social gameplay better than he will.
I think so too, but I think it's because she's a little bit more out in the open with it
Correct.
than he is. But like for Charlie winning multiple immunities and he could win more, I just don't know. I don't think it means nothing, but I don't know how much weight that really carries in the new era. Unless it was a situation where the rest of the tribe has been gunning for him for weeks, but they can't get him out because he keeps winning.
Right.
But that's not the case right now. So it's not
Yeah,
nothing to win immunity, but definitely I don't think it's gonna put him over Maria winning.
Yeah, and I feel like a couple of the people on the jury at the moment, on the jury in general, they were very much a social type of player. I mean, Soda, Tevin, Hunter, not so much. He was more challenged, but looking at some of those people on there, I feel like that is somewhat kind of talking, or they're going to look at that, but I don't know.
No, I'm always interested to think about like how the jury is going to view those people and like where they're going to put the most weight. But I almost wondered, and I know we're jumping ahead a little bit. We'll go back to the reward challenge here in just a minute. But as far as the immunity challenge goes, I almost wondered if Charlie winning a second week in a row was not a good move. I mean, it was down to him and Tiff, and they ended up getting her out. So from that aspect, it was. But if that like may have put a little bit of a target on his back, but so far it doesn't seem to be that way. Like he doesn't seem to be perceived as that challenge beast.
Yeah, and I feel like with the focus they had on trying to get Tiffany out this week, him winning it again, I don't think it's gonna bring up much just because they were all focused on trying to get Tiffany out, and so he won it. That's great. It is what it is. I mean, if he keeps winning, yeah, I could see it being a point of topic, but at this time, I don't think it's anything major.
At this
Yeah.
point, if he has the opportunity to win it next week, does he?
I mean, I think you do.
Yeah, I feel like
I
if you
think
have the chance to win, you win. I don't feel like you just be like, I mean,
Yeah.
that's safety.
I mean, when you look at the challenge you won this week, the immunity challenge you won this week, he talked about after how he had literally practiced and worked on his grip strength. So like I don't think he's gonna like give up an opportunity for safety when like plans can change and things can go haywire in an instant. I think if you have the opportunity to be safe, you're gonna be safe.
Sure.
And I am curious because we're getting down to the wire here. We have 3 episodes left, I think. Like, who are they going to go after next? Because it feels like, I'm probably jumping way ahead, but it feels like Q is here to stay at this point. And
yeah, he's on like life number 4.
Yeah,
he's got 5 more. Well, I don't know. Let's talk about this here in a little bit because I want to talk through a couple different scenarios there. But if you guys are good with it, let's jump back towards the beginning and talk about the reward challenge, which was one of the highlights of the show, or lowlights, depending on who you're rooting for.
Yeah. I didn't write down the details of this challenge because it wasn't really the most important part of it, just based off of everything that happened. But it was an obstacle course, that you were collecting sandbags to toss on top of like a 20-foot, maybe even higher, like platform, and the winner of that won Applebee's. I don't even know how to get into this.
Well, so I guess beforehand, when we talked about how Liz was about to snap and just seemed to be annoyed, nothing was going her way. Somehow it gets brought up, and I think maybe when they announced that it was Applebee's, that this is Liz's favorite spot, and how she's like she hasn't been able to eat anything since the merge. It's been virtually 17 days since she's eaten anything. She's allergic to coconut and fruit, but hey, she can eat the bourbon burger from Applebee's. And that's where her and her daughter go every Wednesday to watch Survivor. And so it made this awesome connection. And then
You won, and he got to pick who he wanted to go on the reward. So he got to pick 3 different people,
Yep.
and those people
first pick
were
Tiffany,
Piff. Yep.
then Maria. And his reasoning for each one I thought was good. Tiffany, he said, wanted to try to rekindle like a friendship that he had, because that was obviously broken after he went crazy one episode. Second pick was Maria, who he said was because she was the only person to come and check on him after the last vote. It's valid. And then Kinsey, just thinking he would try to keep everybody together. Like the old
Yanu.
Yanu, yep. Well, before he picks Maria, Liz is like flat out begging. I think she even said, I'm going to beg you, please take me. And then he didn't.
Were you guys shocked by that?
Nope.
Not at all.
Okay,
wasn't
so
either.
actually, I wasn't shocked because it was Q, and Q hasn't really done anything in the game to make me think that he would do something to help somebody else's game.
Mm-hmm.
I think if it was any other person that won, Liz absolutely would have
For sure.
been on that reward. Like if I was in Q's shoes, and I think I'm just maybe a little bit different in thinking, my mindset would be, okay, we don't do loved ones visits on Survivor anymore. You clearly have a connection to this meal with your daughter. I want to give you that connection and that experience to help you. And I think that, of course, I think it's too little too late for Q to even have a chance to win. But I think him doing that, let's say Q makes it to the end and Q doesn't, well, that could be the difference between or Liz voting for Q and Liz voting for Maria, right?
Absolutely.
That's the way that I would look at it. But I don't fault Q for not picking her, because he's under no obligation to pick her regardless of her story or her connection to that meal.
Right. And he even said that he was like, you voted against me last night. Like, you literally tried to vote me off. Why in the world would I take you when I'm at the bottom and I need people on my side? You're actively trying to get me out.
Yeah.
Yep.
I thought he made the right decision. Obviously, somebody not being able to eat and all of that, like that pulls. But like Brandon said, Q has all been from day one play like, how can I better my game? To a point. I mean, he's had some faults, but worried about his game and not the other side of it. And so him picking those people was the best option for his game. And at that point, that is what it is.
What did you guys think of? Did you guys expect Liz's reaction when Jeff asked her how she was feeling in the moment?
I was not. I was shocked.
Do you think that, because the whole thing was, well, you're allowed to have your emotions. Like, to me, like and I agree with that to a certain extent. I don't know if that reaction was warranted.
Yeah, I definitely thought it was a little bit of an overreaction. Obviously, I haven't gone 18 days without eating very much, to sleep deprived, to all these different things, wanting the food, it being your favorite thing that you get at Applebee's, all of these different things. So those emotions are, I don't know what she was fully going through there, but it was definitely whoa, like he definitely struck a nerve there.
Yeah, I just think like the whole idea of like she has barely eaten, blah blah blah. She's allergic to everything, but can somehow eat Applebee's. Like I'm not gonna do the math there, but for me, I'm like Liz has barely eaten, but it's not like the rest of the tribe are having like 3-course meals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So it's not like they're all having all this nutrition and protein and like energy ready to go. So like I just like
And
her whole story has been I can't eat anything, which is like okay, like you knew that getting on the show that
100%.
food was going to be scarce.
100%. And that you're allergic to these things. It almost made me wonder if some of this is part of her strategy to play up and like make herself seem a little weaker, because for somebody to own what seems to be a very successful business the way she makes it sound, you can't let little things like that cause that big of a blow up. And I mean, maybe she can, but um, and to your point, Logan, I don't know that I've ever gone. No, I definitely don't. Have never gone 18 days without food. So
I've
could bring out a lot of different emotions. It also seemed like that was a lot of pent up stuff that just got taken out on Q, not because of Q.
Yeah.
Like the past 3 episodes where she's hasn't gotten credit for a move she thought she made, or was on the wrong side of the vote and left out. Like it was a lot of these emotions that all built up and came out in that moment.
yeah. Yeah, because the first thing she said was that Q had blown up her entire game, which she's talking about the tribal council where Q was like, just vote me out. And I think Q might have blown up a lot of people's games in that moment, not necessarily Liz's, but Liz also like didn't even bother to start playing the game until right before then. So
And did
nope.
he really blow up anybody's game other than the people that they thought were going to work with him? Because Tevin still went home that day.
I think I think it's that the move got overshadowed by what Q did.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So nobody was really clear on like why Tevin went home and how that came to be.
Gotcha.
Like they're not going to remember Tevin's vote out for Liz voting Tevin out. They're going to remember Q going, all right, just vote me out. And so that's going to be, which I think it's something that she could explain in the jury, be like, oh, okay. So like maybe your game isn't blown up, but also like nobody even knows you have a game because you haven't played until what, 2 votes ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you guys. That I don't know about either of you, but I used to go to Applebee's fairly frequently, and I have not been back in a while because I have not really enjoyed it the past couple times. But dang, that food looked so good.
It did
That
look good.
Applebee's gave him their best there.
They
But
definitely did. It
what's
used to be like what Outback Steakhouse and
yeah, they did Outback. I think they've done Applebee's too, and I think that I think the sponsored segments are cool, but they're kind of corny because you have like Tiff that's like they're like, "Hey Tiff, say something good about Applebee's." So she's like gun to her head like, "Me and my friends go and eat spinach artichoke dip at Applebee's every week and we love it." Like it was just like nothing about that felt natural. It
yeah,
was like this is clearly a sponsored segment.
for sure. No, it some of it was definitely cheesy, but yeah, I don't. The best part of it all was that nobody, not Q, Tiffany, Kenzie, or Maria, ate the burger that Liz wanted so badly.
And then
Nobody ate it,
and
and
then
then
talked about it.
about it.
Talked
Yeah.
about it in front of her.
They're like, I
Oh, we were
couldn't
so
even
full.
touch the
Oh
burger.
my gosh! Like how
Also,
disrespectful.
also, I'm lactose intolerant, but I devoured that milkshake. Yes. Oh.
Oh, I just like, man. And then to find out today on social media that I think Tiffany had admitted that it was cut out, but that Kenzie and Maria both offered their spots up to Liz, and Q overrode them and said, "No, I picked you guys. You guys are the ones that are going." For that to just that carrot to be dangled in front of Liz, and then they all get back and talk about all that is just picture perfect.
Yeah, and I'm curious if when her explosion was there, was it after they picked people or Q picked people and she blew up then, or was it they offered up their reward and Q was like, no? Obviously, we won't know that, but I'd be curious to know that. But
True.
Well, now that I know that, it probably was after Q overrode them
Yeah.
trying to step away.
That's
And
true because Q wouldn't like if she did that beforehand. I don't know.
I think it would have been after. But I think I wish they would have kept that in, but since Jeff is like, we're not having villains anymore, I can see why they would have cut that out.
But with you saying that, I feel like a lot of people have already kind of labeled Q as a villain because
Ben-
of not taking her.
Ben
already
called him
said
a
that.
villain. He literally
Yeah.
called him a villain. So like
true.
how can you be like, we're not having villains and then keep Ben calling Q a villain in your edit?
Yeah.
Well, and other than that comment and that little conversation there, and then him being included in the vote to get Tiffany out with Charlie and Maria that brought him in, that's the only gameplay Ben seems to have done recently. Unless I'm just totally missing something.
No, I don't think Ben has
He's-
been very active.
He's just there to rock.
It's true.
Just there for a good time. Like he's just I think after Tim got voted out, he just threw in the towel and he's just going with it.
Well,
So real sorry. After they got back from the reward and they were all sitting around talking about the burger, they didn't get to eat it, all of that. What do you guys think of Liz saying she apologized for her outbreak? Obviously, we come to find out she was absolutely not sorry whatsoever. Do you think that was wise on her part, or was it just like just trying? I don't know. What do you guys think of that?
I mean, it's wise to obviously bury the hatchet or whatever, but she also admitted later on in tribal council that she was lying about being sorry, so I
Yeah,
guess
that's
it
true.
ended up mattering anyway.
Yeah.
But I think like to further that, I I don't think Liz apologizing to Q, whether it's genuine or not, really matters, because it's not like Q has a bunch of power in the game anyway. So it's not like she has to. I don't know. I gotta suck up to Q because he's gonna
Yeah.
vote me out.
It's true. What about the immunity challenge? Let's talk about that, because that was kind of an interesting moment there. Little redeeming for Liz.
Little negotiation, right?
Again, first time ever, I think, that's been on the table twice.
I think so. And part of me wonders if this negotiation was specifically to get Liz food.
I honestly think it was,
That's what I
because
thought.
they I mean, they even had the option for, if anybody wants to step out, and if we can't come with 4 people, if anybody wants to step out, we'll give you like a individual portion of rice.
Yeah,
Like,
because it was the
nobody was
same.
stepping out. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the same offers last time, except there's 8 people left in the game, so it was 4 people step out, you get rice for the duration of the game, or 2 people sacrifice their vote or forfeit their vote at the next tribal council, right? Or as you said, any individual can step out and you'll get an individual portion of rice. I don't think I've ever seen them offer individual portions of food before.
Yeah. That had to have been because of Liz. I truly believe that.
Yep.
Well, I hope that it was like a medical thing, like, hey, we're worried about her continuing, like, medically, we need to maybe intervene a little bit, as opposed to we just feel sorry the way that Q didn't give it to her, kind of deal.
Yeah.
Well, again, we'll never know the answer to that, but I hope it was the former.
Yeah. Yeah, that would make sense. And I think something that's interesting with these challenges that they have negotiations with is like looking at the challenge, sizing it up and going, can I win this? Do I have a legitimate chance at winning this? And I feel like maybe like it's just the like what's at stake. You feel like even if I don't have a chance at winning it, like, or if I don't feel like I have a good chance at winning it, I need to compete just on the off chance that I somehow win. But I feel like some of them need to be like, I have no shot here. Like Venus was there for like 30 seconds. She could have stepped out, and 3 other early people could have stepped out, and they could have got the whole
I just think
tribe rice.
I think people are not comfortable with seeming like they're comfortable. And there's that fear of saying, dang, if I sit out, that tells the rest of the tribe that I feel safe, at least on some level. And maybe not on Liz, because they knew she just wanted food. But I don't know, if Venus were to step in or step out, I wonder, or if Charlie did, I don't know, any of these people, if they would have said like, dang, they feel really comfortable, we need to target them.
But I hear that. But I think if you're like somebody like Venus, like her name hasn't come up since Tevin got voted out. She is honestly comfortable, and she really hasn't been featured the last few episodes. So
Actually, speaking of that, I saw that a stat that she did not have a confessional this episode, and the last time that's happened, I think it was like 3 or 4 seasons ago, that somebody this late in the game didn't get a confessional all game, or like all
Yep.
episode.
Well,
Conspiracy
20 minutes of
theory.
it was dedicated to Liz. Go ahead.
It's true. Conspiracy theory. Does Venus make it to the end, potentially win, and they are just trying to maybe edit some things in a way to make us like her a little more and it not be so controversial?
We will see.
I mean, maybe. I hope not, because like to this point, what has she really done besides maybe having credit for voting Soda out? And also just kind of like she wasn't part of the TIFF blindside tonight.
No.
So I hope, like, I'm not against her winning, but like if we get to the end and she wins, I will be disappointed just because like it would kind of remind me of season 41, the Erica one, that I couldn't really tell you two things that she did in the game that were impactful other than breaking an hourglass and reversing time or whatever she did.
Yeah.
But
That's a good word, is impactful, because I've been in this weird thought all week of like, man, I just really want to see the best players get to the end of the game. And I guess by definition, the best players do get to the end of the game. That's how they become the best. But I think that word that I've been looking for all week is impactful. I want the people with the most impact in the game to make it the furthest. So I'm glad you said that.
so
Well,
we haven't actually even discussed the immunity challenge, have we?
no, we haven't.
Logan, you want to break that down?
Yeah, this was one that we've seen before. They are holding a bar that rotates, and on that bar is a string that has a bucket attached, and was it 25% of their pre-game weight in
Yep.
the bucket,
Correct.
and they have to hold it as long as they can. If their hands start slipping and that starts to unravel, bucket drops, breaks the tile, and they're out. So holding on as long as you can, pure grip strength, and Charlie ended up winning, like we've said, and I honestly thought Tiffany was going to win it. She did not move one bit through the entire thing until the very end, which it seemed a little odd to me that it almost looked like she just collapsed. I don't know. There was no movement, and all of a sudden she was just out. So I don't know, but Charlie won.
Well, his little twist at the end where Charlie it was slip in, and then he just grabbed that thing and started twisting it back all the way up to the top. And it almost seems strategic, like he was doing that on purpose. And I wonder if that was just kind of that mental break that she was just like, okay, I can't do it anymore, and just collapsed.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
good for him.
Yeah, it definitely felt abrupt. Did you guys catch the time, like how long that challenge lasted? Because I know Jeff said that Gabler had done 38 minutes in season 43.
I didn't catch how long it went.
I didn't. I remember him saying something about like been up here 13 minutes or something like that.
Okay. So it wasn't even close.
I don't think so.
That's a good challenge though. And like I know that those challenges, like for TV, there's really not a lot happening, but I like can just imagine how difficult they are for the players, like in the moment. So I will forever love those challenges.
Yeah. And we kind of see a little snippet of Charlie talking about that he worked on his grip strength, knowing that there's obviously challenges like this. So he's obviously here to play, and we've seen that. But these challenges, I've always wanted to see how I could do in these challenges, because I think it'd be fun to try it out. But yeah.
Sure. What do you guys think of probably Venus's most cringe moment of the episode, where she was talking crap and basically cheering on Q to fall or to let go while she had already gotten out of the game, like felt like 5 minutes before that?
Yeah, that was lame.
It's like,
Yeah.
he lasted longer than you. What do you like? shut up. You're just being kind of a mean girl.
Yeah, and that's honestly kind of a good way to describe like how she's been all season, but just like unnecessary, honestly.
Mhm.
So after tribal, or not after tribal, after the immunity challenge, Charlie obviously won. They get back to camp, and kind of the last time we had seen some strategy talk was the whole switching of Kinsey from wanting to vote Tiffany to maybe shying away from Tiffany and going Q. Well, Maria, Charlie, and Ben all seem to want to vote Tiffany without even telling Kinsey. And so they're left down to really two choices: bringing in Venus or bringing in Liz. And I'm really surprised that they went with Liz, especially when the alternative was voting Q out. Were you guys surprised at all by that?
I didn't think she was going to be able to put her emotions aside from being so hungry and mad at Q to not vote him off. I thought she was voting for him. It did surprise me that she was able to kind of differentiate those two.
Yeah, I'm impressed by Liz, like all things considered, like the state that she was in prior to this, that she was able to understand that she has this personal vendetta against Q, but it's better for not only Liz's game, but probably everybody's game if they get rid of Tiff, because it's probably the best opportunity to get rid of Tiff. And if they don't get rid of her, honestly, Tiff might win the game.
For sure.
Probably would win the game, honestly. So good on Tiff, or excuse me, Liz, to be able to put that beef aside for another vote. And it's a huge risk for Maria to bring in Liz because of all that, but I think it's the better play because I think if Venus got a hold of that plan, she would have blown it up and ruined everything. So just another smart play for Maria and Charlie.
For sure. Yeah, good on her for recognizing, hey, between those two options, this is our best shot, and here's why. And I don't know. Again, I'm reminded that just how good of a read she has on the game and of the people left in the game. So I thought it was awesome by Maria.
So
Tribal?
Yeah, Tribal Council.
Tribal. It was, I mean, fairly boring compared to the previous two tribals, which I'm kind of glad. I don't really like live tribals. I think we've talked about that a handful of times, but everybody seemed to be going Q's way. Like all votes were going Q's way. And then I was surprised that he even said anything about, like, yeah, I threw this plan out there. Because I thought, oh my God, if Tiffany thinks that it's coming for her at all, she just saw what happened to Hunter. She's just going to play her idol and she's going to be safe. So I was like, Q, shut up. But it worked. Everybody seemed so believable. I wasn't even sure there for a minute. And sure enough, they pulled off the blind side. And the look on Tiffany's face when she got that third vote or second vote, whichever one it was priceless.
I even feel the reaction to the first vote. She was like, "Oh, what? Hang on!" And then Q, Q, Q.
Yeah.
And then like you said, the next one hit, and it was, oh no, what did I do?
I actually thought that was really well done, the way that they sorted the votes, because typically when it's back and forth like that, it would be Q Tiff, Q Tiff, Q Tiff. And like it was Q Tiff, Q, Q, Q. And I was like, I was like, oh, they didn't go after Tiff. Like I was actually kind of disappointed that they didn't pull off the blind side. And then yeah, it was Tiff, Tiff, Tiff. So it was cool. Tiffany's jaw dropped. Kenzie was like mind blown, even though like I feel like there's a part of her that had to know that it was somewhat of a possibility, even though they kind of kept her in the dark.
Yeah,
But
I think it was brilliant to keep Kinsey out of it too. Like,
yeah, just based
blindsided
off.
two people, and I don't know. And honestly, it's probably, as far as individual jury votes, she might be able to get Tiffany's vote, because she can say, I had no part in this. I didn't vote for you. Is that going to be worth more than pulling off the blind side of your number one? Who knows?
Yeah, and I feel like Tiffany had a really good outlook on getting voted out. I mean, I feel like if you're gonna be voted out, the way to get voted out is by a blind side, because that shows you're in power. You're the one that's kind of up there, somewhat in the leader spot. And if I were to get voted out of Survivor, I would want it to be a blind side to a point. And so I wonder if she'll respect that move in Maria's favor there. I don't know.
Yeah, good point.
Tiffany's the second person in a row to get voted out with an idol in their pocket.
Yeah.
Which that was, at first I was like, dang it, 2 in a row. But to me, this one was totally different than Hunter.
Oh,
And,
absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah.
getting voted out while
True
you
blindside.
like are totally blindsided, don't believe any votes are coming your way, and to get taken out, totally fair. The part where I'm still annoyed at Hunter is, and you weren't sure. You were questioning the entire time, where Tiffany was sure, and it's totally different, even though the outcome's the same.
Yep. I'm with you.
But I'm pretty much on the train of Charlie and Maria are running the game at this point. Like, they are, one of them two is going to win it if they make it to the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of winners, because Charlie is Blake's third winner, Maria is my second winner. Logan officially lost your winner.
I did.
You got to pick somebody else.
Yeah, I've been kind of thinking about that, and I don't know if it is good of me, or if it's okay for me to pick the same winner as one of you two. So I've been trying to think of somebody outside of Charlie and Maria. I truly believe it's going to be one of those two. But in the sake of picking somebody else so it's not the same person, I've been throwing some people back and forth, and I don't know if I love this, but I could see if this person makes it to the end, and down maybe in the next episode or two can make another move. Like I said, I don't love this, because I think Maria and Charlie are going to be one of the ones that win, but I'm gonna say Venus. So I think that the amount that she's been trying to play the game, we've seen that from the beginning. She's tried to make moves, make alliances. It's come off in the wrong way. I think if she can speak to voting Soda out, maybe had a little bit of part in the Tevin vote, to even if she can get out maybe Charlie or Maria and make that move, if she makes it to the end, I don't think she's gonna beat out one of those two. But if those two aren't at the end, I think she could be the winner. So I'm going to say Venus.
Very interesting. I honestly thought you were going to say Kinsey.
Thought so too.
See, I thought about Kinsey, but I don't feel like outside of, yes, her social game of everybody seems to like her and all, I don't feel like she's making a ton of strategic moves. Obviously, she tried to get out Tiffany, but then backed off of that and didn't make the move. The only way I see her winning is kind of a popularity of like, oh, like she was super nice and everybody liked her, but I don't know. I was trying to think outside the box. Sorry, you
She-
hate my pick.
No, I
No,
like
I-
your pick. She'd have Ben's vote, but Venus, I think is interesting because, like you said, she's tried. I think she's gonna have a really hard time speaking to her game.
Yeah,
I think let me twist that a little bit. I think she'll have an easy time speaking to her game. I don't think the jury will see it the same way she does, because I think she believes she has been way more impactful in the game so far than she actually has.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's a better way to frame it. She'll have a harder time convincing the jury.
So
Right. Yeah,
I think we all agree that the two front runners are Charlie and Maria.
Hmm.
So that leaves just with who's left. We have Q, Ben, Venus, Kenzie, and Liz. Do you see any combination where Q wins that
no,
I don't think so.
it's
up
clear
against
to,
Liz and Ben?
I think
I don't think Liz and Ben as a Liz, Ben, and Q make the end. There would have to be something go dramatically wrong.
No, I
Catastrophic.
agree, but I'm trying to see,
so.
like, does anybody have a chance, even if they get out Maria and Charlie? Does Q have a chance at all, even if you put him up against those two weakest players, in my opinion?
Okay, let's say Liz, Ben, Q. I don't think Ben's getting votes.
No,
Liz, maybe, because she could maybe potentially spin the idea that she voted out Tevin, which in a way she did. I also think she can claim the Tiffany blindside and say, listen, that move doesn't happen without me.
True.
And if you look at Q, and if Liz, Ben, and Q are the final three, that also means that they likely orchestrated moves in getting rid of Charlie, Maria, and everybody else. So they're going to have even more to speak about. But I think Q might actually be there at the end, but not because he's this great player, but I think people are realizing that he doesn't have a lot of friends and we want him to sit with us.
Yeah.
But
Does
like I said, go ahead.
Ben get any votes, no matter who he's sitting next to?
I don't see it unless somebody's mad.
Yeah, I don't see it either. Like we've said multiple times, I feel like he's here to rock, and we just haven't seen a ton from him on outwit, outlast, outplay. He hasn't been competitive in challenges hardly at all. He doesn't seem to be making a ton of moves. He's a number in people's alliance. He's not the one bringing it up. I just don't think I don't see a way he gets any votes. I like the guy.
Oh,
Sure.
you know what's funny is like he's one of my favorite players,
Yeah,
but he hasn't done anything. So
Yeah, I think he would have to be the center of attention for the next several episodes and play it perfectly to get a chance. Because I think it's too far too gone, though.
So, what do we have? Survivor of the week.
I believe so.
For the
Ooh,
week.
you know what? Blake, you sent Logan and I a TikTok with some news for season 50 of Survivor. You want to share that?
Ooh, yes. So I don't know where it was, but there was a video that I saw that Jeff Probst announced or confirmed that season 50 would be returning players. So, and
Love
then
it.
it does sound like 47 and 48 are slotted to continue 90-minute episodes
Fall,
and do what?
this fall and spring, or like
Correct.
coming up fall and spring. Like they're not taking a break.
So won't be one this summer. Obviously, that's when CBS does Big Brother, but it'll be back in the fall for 47, spring for 48. I would assume season 50 will be 2 years from now, based on that timeline.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, and having returning players, I'll be interested to see if they bring back anybody from like the old seasons or even like 20s and 30s, or if it'll all be of the new era. Um, I don't know. I was pumped to hear that.
I'm super excited because we had been kind of speculating that anyway, like, oh, maybe next season will be it. We knew it was going to happen eventually. I hope it's just new era players.
I do too.
And nothing against season 1 through 40, but I feel like that chapter of Survivor is closed. And in my opinion, there's been a ton of good players, and there's going to be great players to come that we haven't seen yet that will be great candidates for season 50.
Yeah, and we've talked about we don't feel like people in the old era would be able to hang with the new era to a point. And so I feel like if they did that, I don't know how well it would go over. And like Brandon said, there's plenty of good players in this new era and some to come. So I hope it's just all new era.
I do as well. I do as well.
But Survivor of the Week?
Yep.
Survivor of the Week.
Who you got, Brandon?
You know, I gotta go with Maria. Because I think blindsiding Tiffany might be the biggest move in the game.
I don't think there's any might be. I think that's the biggest move of the game. Absolutely.
For sure.
And I feel like we might all just collectively agree that that's Survivor of the Week, but you guys can go too.
No, I mean, that's who I was going to say, and obviously trying to think of somebody else, but I truly believe Maria was Survivor of the Week this week.
100%. I mean, there's really two other moves that I thought could even be in contention, but Maria had like just move after move after move. Like every part of this episode, she excelled in, from talking to Q to leaving out Kinsey to blindsiding Tiffany to deciding to pull in Liz. Like everything, like she was in control the entire time. So the only two other moves would be Charlie for winning his back-to-back immunity idol. But I feel like all of us agree that that's not necessarily going to win you the game of Survivor like it used to. And then the only other move, which I would not give her Survivor of the Week, maybe like blunder of the week, but was Liz, and how she flipped her or just kind of went against herself wanting to get Q out and having that personal vendetta to saying, okay, I'm actually going to vote with Q, and playing that off and and making that happen wasn't the other good move in my opinion, but I mean, it does not hold a candle to Maria at all.
I would agree with all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can find us on social media at Merge Feast Pod on Twitter. Find us on YouTube at The Merge Feast, youtube.com/at The Merge Feast.
And we've got 3 more weeks of Survivor. I don't know about you guys, but kind of got an idea for us to have 4 more episodes before the finale, or 3 episodes before the finale, and then our finale episode. Thinking we might have maybe a early in the week special episode, just maybe short 20 or 30-minute thing where we just kind of talk about our favorite moments and reminisce over the season, so that the last episode we can focus solely on the finale and the winners, or winner, if you guys are good with that.
Love it.
Like it.
All right. Well, I think that's all for me. Logan, do you have anything else?
That's it for me.
All right. Say goodbye, Logan.
Goodbye, Logan.